Welcome everybody to this April 11th, 2019 Core Modules Developer Group meeting. We have with us today myself, and we have Michael Tobish, and Peter Dunker, and David Poindexter, and Michael Onizuka, which is driving right now, so he's mainly listening to us. Okay, so I pretty much copied the agenda from last meeting, so I don't think we need to review the last meeting one. On this week's subjects, we have automated builds if there's anything new. We have the vendor banners module, which I would like to make sure we have time to talk about. And I was hoping that Francisco be with us, but he didn't join yet. But we can go review what he submitted. We have Azure DevOps, Test Plan, Selenium, if there's anything new. Forge, I'd like to make sure we have time to get to that subject too. Documentation, if there's anything new. And survey module, which Michael Tobish will walk us through his changes that I want to make sure we have time to reach that also. Is there anything else that we absolutely want on this meeting as far as subjects? That's good. Okay, so automated builds. Do we have anything new? Do we push this to next meeting, or do we consider this kind of ready?
Can I?
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly what the content was of automated builds.
Yeah, it's a CI.
Yeah. Okay. So, because I've been working on build automation for our community with Matt for a bit using Cake, so that could have an impact on this, I guess, because I think Cake works very well with these things. And if you want, I can share how
You're
that
talking about
works.
local automation, I'm assuming? Local build automation?
Local build automation, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. I like it. I love it.
All right, here we go.
Do you want to share your screen, or it's more?
I am about to share my screen. Let me have a look.
I think
Not
I
unless Daniel
stopped my
left.
share.
Yep, exactly. I will need to. Let's share that. All right, there we go. And let's go to, and I'll use the open source module that I'm running for our, there we go, DNN Connect conference, the conference, running the conference. So the, because I also made the move to no longer develop in situ, if you like, right, inside of a DNN development installation. Yay! Thanks, David.
Welcome to the modern world.
Exactly. Welcome to the 2010s and later. And I know there are a lot of old generation guys like myself, and I mean old generation, not purely in age like myself, but more like we've been with the platform for a long time, and this is the way we used to develop in the early days. Right, this is how Visual Studio used to work. You had web application project, and you'd add ASCXs, and you just did the code behind and everything. You did everything in situ. So, okay, so the new stuff, given also you're doing a lot more client-server stuff, requires a new approach. Now, I also thought it was the right time to rethink how we build stuff, and I've gone through, and I guess a lot of you will recognize these build tools. Nant, which I found infinitely more elegant than MS Build, but you know, that's taste. I got everything like worked out in Nant, because the nice thing was for me, Nant was external to whatever I was working in. So whatever I could screw up in Visual Studio, it would have no bearing on my build process in Nant, because that was just a script that was called externally. And from Nant, I went to Gulp. I missed the front wave that there was in between. So, and in Gulp, that I've now been using for a couple of years, my biggest gripe is that dependencies tend to shift so fast that it's a very brittle build solution, if you like. So along comes Cake, that's been introduced into our community by Oliver and by Andrew Kling and others who have worked on the build process of the entire platform and done it in Cake. So I delved into it, and I felt that it deserved also a shot to do this for module building itself. But for that, you will need to, as you know, Cake is just C#. All the people on the call familiar with Cake? Yes, and Michael as well. Okay. Okay. So Michael, Cake looks a lot like it takes a few things from other build systems, which is to have a task that is dependent on another task, so that the task runner knows that, oh, if I need to do package, I need to do build first, and if it goes to build, it says, oh, I need to do the assembly info first. Okay, this is nearly every build system works this way. So that looks familiar. The only thing, the chaining, exactly. And the fun part for us is it's just basically C# after that, right? So it's all written in C#. And these Cake files, another nice feature is that they auto bootstrap. So if you just have the PowerShell script and your build script, your Cake build script, it will pull in all the dependencies from NuGet that it needs to get without you having to manually check that it's the right version or even install anything or see. You don't need to do it. As long as you have PowerShell, this whole thing will run out of the box like this.
And if I'm not wrong, it bootstraps on. It creates a PowerShell script and also a script for other platforms, I think. Like what they call it on Linux.
Is Peter breaking up for everybody else?
To have it working on all platforms. Do I need to plug in?
You are cutting out. I'm not sure if it's me hosting or you. Okay.
I was thinking it was me too, but it sounds like it's not. Yeah.
All right. Let's see if this improves.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
All right. Let's see if this improves.
Yep. Cool.
It seems that sharing screens over my Wi-Fi is.
Okay. So what I was saying is that it bootstraps it not only as a PowerShell script, but there's other scripts for other platforms too, I think.
Yes.
That's a build system that's multi-platform.
Yeah,
cool.
The ambition is that all of this is cross-platform, and what it downloads, it puts in this tools folder. That's the default folder that it puts everything, and so everything is contained in here and in your Cake script and your build PS1. And so you can make a dependency on, I have a NuGet dependency here on MarkDig, for instance. And that means that it will just pull that in. There you go. It just pulled it into the add-ins here in that folder. So, that is definitely something that I like about it. There's no more headaches of keeping track of your dependencies, and that they are not mixed with your project dependencies, right? Because if you use Gulp, your package.json has all the Gulp crap that you need. So this takes a lot of headaches away, and again, it satisfies this other compulsive thing that I have, which is to keep it separate from the rest of the project, right? From your code, from other things. It really is just about building stuff.
And, two questions. Is it easy to, well, first, one comment and one question. It's much easier to read than MS Build scripts, which I like. And if you want to step through to debug through these things, you have to rely on like console log and stuff, or can you actually step through because it's C# code?
Stepping through, I've never tried.
Okay.
You would need to ask the gurus.
Cool. Would be nice.
And basically, I mean, you also touched something that that I find a minus for me, which is I don't get the formatting in Visual Studio Code working yet on this. That annoys me. And for sure, I find that there is a delicate balance between how much text you put into a script and how much you offload into libraries that you code in C# and that are less accessible for someone who's running the solution. And you could opt to run everything out of a library, meaning the someone who uses this has no option to tweak anything other than just set the parameters. Or you can have it all in script, and then that person has complete freedom to change anything, any little bit of how it works. But the big disadvantage, of course, with that is you get overwhelmed with scripts, right? That have usually no IntelliSense on them. So I opted to do a balance.
Can this be separated in multiple files if you...
Yes, you can. Yep. You can. But at one point, of course, you quickly realize that some stuff is not very handy to deliver in scripts, but rather a lot easier to deliver in libraries. So hence, there is a project called DNN KQTels on NuGet. And if you NuGet that into your installation, you get a whole bunch of goodies that allow you to make a package script, which is reasonably concise, but still allows you to tweak a lot of things. Now, the central part of this, and this is something that I want to promote, and I will probably use if I get the time, the event in June as well to explain this in more in depth. But to move away from XML and to move towards JSON. So we know we have to generate a manifest to have a valid package, and we use JSON nowadays in a package of JSON to basically tell that directory what this is, what we're looking at. And in my opinion, that should be one and the same thing. So very soon I started looking at how you could just leverage the package.json, which is of course just an open JSON file. You could extend it any way you want and say, well, you know what, we put our information about what we're building into the package.json, and this solution will then compile the manifest file from that. So if you look at the package.json, you will see that it has, it starts with the regular things, name, version, description, and then there is a subsection called DNN, which tells me, what project there is to build. And it tells me stuff for the manifest, like this. And it tells me stuff for compiling this stuff into the into a zip, right? And then there's even a zip name here, right? The rest is again back to regular package.json. And if I go to this server.conference folder, there is a dnn.json, which actually holds the definition of that particular thing, which is in this case a module. And that module has, you'll recognize this, right? Module definitions, module controls, There you go, boom, 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 permissions, da, da, da. And so what happens is that the build script actually compiles whatever you mention in the package.json and start adding that into a into a single zip package in a standardized way, and compile the manifest. So if you take, for instance, where is it? Path to scripts. Here we go. So your module wants some SQL scripts.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, that's at server SQL scripts. They're here, right? And so now I keep those here, and what happens is that they get basically parsed out like a number of other people have done in their solutions, so that if you just drop in a new script, your manifest is automatically adapted to the version. Another thing, of course, is solved, which is that you just name the assemblies that you want to pump out, and the version number of those assemblies is parsed so that you get correct version numbering always on your assemblies when you build and package. So what does a package look like? Oh, that should be no mystery. That was a bit of tweaking to get this going, but I'll amuse you with how it looks now. To me, a package like this. So you have the obligatory bin folder with its DLLs, the scripts folder that have all the scripts underneath it, and the resources folder that has the entire resources for the module underneath this. And this installs just fine. If you look at it, I should probably encode that in XML so it becomes a little bit more readable. Off you go.
Yeah, but we recognize it. Yeah.
You recognize it.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of quick. I mean, it does. For instance, this thing is done automatically as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I parse out the dependency of the.
Where does it get it from?
It gets it from your reference. Actually, if you parse out an assembly in using reflection, you can get the referenced assemblies of that assembly.
Nice.
And that allows you to say, oh, .NUG.dll version 8.0.0. Well, that means that's your core version dependency, and I'm going to put it in there. That kind of stuff is in that C# project that is imported through NuGet. That kind of tweaking, right?
Yep.
There's a method there, get core version of your thing. Scripts named with the versions, and where are the assemblies? Here we go. Assemblies correctly named with their file versions as well, so that you should avoid any conflict that could possibly arise.
Does it support currently to have more than one resource files?
Yes.
Yes.
So anyway, I plan on open sourcing the important bits and pieces, which the script, and of course the NuGet package is already online, and to start documenting it and promoting it at events to, maybe that will help a shift to more solid and easier building for people, and possibly also in DevOps easier CI.
That's awesome. I had something, but I forgot. Well, if it comes back to mind, I'll ask you. Okay, so that's very nice. Yep. But I think that's a subject worth of investing more time on it than we have now. But it's very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it certainly. It needs more work, but for that I need help to complete the project types that I hardly ever make, like skin and containers and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, that could be useful too there. Yeah.
No, you could wrap everything. So
yeah, definitely. So currently that package is not open source yet. It's still a private project until you make it.
I don't
The cake.
actually it is. It is in the currently online on the conference project. Right.
Okay,
It's
and
an open source project, so that you can find on DNN Connect /conference on GitHub.
I was talking about the tasks.
So the script is in the conference project, and the NuGet DLL is also open source under, I believe, DNN Community. I slipped that in because no one would give me an answer on where to put this, and I was like, yeah, well, I'm
this one here, right?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna link this into the agenda here.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. So in that repository, we're gonna find some documentation about it, or at least
I'm
the
sure
code of it. Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else we want to discuss here about automation stuff? That's pretty much it. Okay. So vendors, banners, module, Francisco Perez and his friend Jesus. Okay. So we have a big pull request here to make it responsive from Jesus, and I took a quick look through it, just navigating the code here. One little issue I found, the references were changed from NuGet to local references. The rest kind of look fine to me. Today I wanted to test it out, so I wanted to install the current release, put some content, upgrade to this one, and the current release was not working. So that's pretty much where I am now for reviewing this. He's not with us today, so I'm gonna postpone this to next meeting, and it gives us another 2 weeks to go test that. But basically, I'd like to make sure that we can successfully upgrade from an existing data before merging that. And if time allows, bring this up to our current standards with putting it with the CI and documentation and stuff. So I'm gonna put it right now on postponed, but I tried to have it reviewed before the meeting. There was not enough time. Test plans, Selenium. Do we have anything new regarding that, or we discuss that on the next meeting?
Has anyone tried, who's trying Selenium?
I think it was Andrew.
Yeah,
Okay.
mentioning it.
Because I recently saw a presentation on headless Chrome,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh, is this going to kill Selenium? Because it basically does the same thing, which is, automate your browser to find stuff and press buttons and everything. Yeah, thanks. That's the only thing I wanted to add. I have not tried it myself yet, but it looks very promising as a technology to start testing web apps in a scripted way.
And that would be a CI step, basically?
Well, I'm not sure, but
Okay.
It seems like it's very lightweight. I mean, that's what they want us to believe through the presentations.
Cool. So
I'm seeing a lot of stuff on automated testing with headless Chrome. So
okay, we'll keep it on the agenda until further info. Okay, so the Forge project. I started working on, well, this kind of connects to so many things. I wanted to give a try to web components, and that's kind of the project I used for my first try of these things. And it brought me into styling, and it brought me into, we need a good worksheet to manage those multiple projects we have here, and the DNN extensions feed, and all those things connect together, and there's a lot of decisions to be made on those different parts to bring things together. However, not all of that relates directly to the core modules. So in order to simplify this, I'm going to replace the title here for a core, well, for a DNN community worksheet, kind of. And I'm going to focus on the part that relates to this group and make just something for easing our management. But the way it's heading, it's going to be a DNN module that will pull metadata from either an organization or a user account from all your repositories, either yourself or your organization. Do I have? Yeah, I have an ugly demo, but I have a demo. It was better, but I undid a lot of stuff because of the way the APIs work. So basically, this is currently not a DNN module. It's just a front end, and it connects directly to GitHub. It's exclusively web components. There's no framework here. So Stencil is only used to build them, but this is no framework at all. And basically, it's just using the in the fetch API. It's just using the DNN community, and it pulls the logo, it pulls the title, it pulls the description of the organization or the user, and then it can pull all the repositories. And I put like a table here, and this is a web component table that has automatic sorting and filtering. So it's kind of nice. And it weighs 5 kilobytes, the whole thing.
Oh yeah, baby.
It's awesome, and there's
I
no
love that.
framework doing it. Yeah. For old browsers, there's a little polyfill which I think is like 40K or something, so that all of this works on cross browser. But if you have a modern browser, it's really lightweight, and you could take that and put it inside of the DNN module, inside of a React project, inside of whatever you want. It's just like an HTML element. Now, this was my first try, and I'm using the GitHub APIs directly without authentication. So it's currently limited to 60 calls per hour, which means 1 per minute, and it's unusable. That's why I disabled the all issues thing here, because it was just blocking me on every page refresh. So I intend to, that was like kicking the tires on these things, but I intend to make that an open source DNN module, and people can use it for the core modules, and you can use for your own GitHub projects and stuff, put it on your website, whatever.
Cool.
And basically in the all issues tab, I would like to be able to filter for bug and sort them by date, and let's go fix the oldest bug, or filter by repository and find all the bugs on that repository and go fix them and stuff. So
cool. The idea is that this would live as a module on the new community site that we're building, I guess.
Yes, it will be. I'm gonna make it in a way that we can reuse it for our own stuff. So if
I
projects,
understand.
I can install it on my site and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'd like the fetch to GitHub to be backend and cached in the database, so that we can extend the data relating to a project, or for instance, what's the minimal version it works, what's the maximum version it would test it on. We did not find a good way on GitHub to have that data as a standalone piece. So we can now extend it on the DNN database where we store these things.
Yeah.
Now, in the future, if we need to connect this to the extension feed or to a store or to whatever the plans head, we have a DNN database that contains all this with caching and stuff, and we can feed that to another piece. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So that's where I am, and now I'm gonna re-implement this more as a DNN module. And that table component I just reused, but unfortunately, it doesn't allow sorting and filtering on the same column. So that's kind of.
I'm sure David can fix that. He's really into web components.
Yeah. We're good at volunteering.
I don't know how you gathered that. I really don't.
But it's kind of cool. And another thing that kind of connects to this, we want to start building DNN web components that are reusable in modules and the persona bar and all kinds of stuff. So I may start naming some of those components DNN.something and submitting them into a folder of the main repository and the platform repository, because we want to reuse that everywhere. So yeah. So it's a little bit of a proof of concept for web components to within DNN.
No, it's a movement. I know it is. I feel
Cool.
it.
So I'm gonna change this to, yeah, I'm gonna leave the RFC there because I don't know where we're heading with the Forge, so I'm gonna leave it there. But as it relates to this group, it's now project changed focus to only build a, I don't know, a GitHub aggregator module, let's call it. Documentation. Do we want to?
I just have one thing to say about that.
Yes.
Nothing long at all, but we are conversing about how to handle some of these type of things, like, you know, where it's going to live in the documentation, these how-tos and what the scope of these are and everything. I don't have anything definitive to share yet, but just wanted to mention that it is on the radar of the docs team and trying to really kind of figure that out, because it's something that's needed, but we don't have a clear vision yet for how to organize a lot of this stuff. So
yeah, and I want to congratulate everybody working on the documentation project. There's awesome work. Every day I see tons of stuff being merged, and we're really heading somewhere, and nice work there. As it relates to the core modules, is this subject something we want to keep on the agenda, like rolling as something, or it was just me?
the idea was really just putting it out there that it would be nice to have some how-tos of how to use core modules for things, you know, to really try to raise awareness on a broader scale, maybe, because I don't think everybody's following GitHub, right? But no, I don't think it's something that needs to be staying on the agenda moving forward, really.
Cool, awesome. But nice work on the documentation. So Michael Tobish, he submitted us a pull request on survey module.
Yeah.
DNN community survey. And we had a one-on-one little meeting. He showed me some stuff, and I think it's good for the overall community. I'm going to give you all the time you want. The only thing I wanted to mention in the pull request here, and we'll decide how. There's a lot of changes, so it's a major rebuild. One thing I'd like to make sure is that upgrades work fine, and that local builds work fine for everybody, and that later we can check it out. So documentation was implemented as a separate project. Eventually we could grab that and put it using our documentation team. But other than that, I'm gonna stop my screen share, and you can demo this for everybody.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you see this?
Yes, we can.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, that's bad.
That is survey module 460 on DNN 9.2.2. So it doesn't work anymore. So I'm going to...
And just as a side note, there was currently no releases for the survey module on GitHub.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, the survey module was one of the big important modules because it didn't install automatically in .NET Nuke, and it was just there in the install folder, and who wanted it. So I just dropped the release here.
So basically, there was no release even on what was the previous system? Codeplex?
It was 4.70.
Okay,
But
cool.
I used 4.60 because in 4.70 there was no changes in the database. So I upgraded it from 4.60 now. And
But the latest release that was published had a higher version than yours?
4.70, but there was no change anyway.
Okay, but ultimately, before releasing, the version would need to be higher than
4.70, yeah.
Okay.
But now I upgraded from 4.60 and worked fine. Yeah, you see.
Okay.
So I'm on 9.0 now, and when I refresh the page, I have the old. This is a local site that I upgraded from DNN 5 to 9. Just to be sure.
Nice.
Yeah. So I have this survey here again that I created in DNN 5 with survey module 4.60. And I made some changes in the module because I thought some things were really stupid. So just let me. How can I change the? Now you see only the browser, don't you? So I'm going to. No. How can I change the window here? Sorry, I'm not too experienced in.
You want to exit full screen?
Yeah, probably.
There's a bar with
yeah.
zoom bar. You have view options, and in that menu you have exit full screen if you need to.
So now you can see that.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What I did, I make that full screen. In the old, I made some PowerPoint sheets for just to demonstrate what I did. So here on the left side is always the old module, and on the right side there's the new one. Mm-hmm. In the old module, I had this. There was this things that, for instance, editors could edit the module, and some user could edit the module, and there was this survey setting: vote via tracking cookie or vote registered users, and survey results is visible to public and private. And I thought, this is stupid. This has to go to permissions. So I made permissions out of that, and I just see. So if an editor has the edit module permissions, he has also the view results permissions here. That's just documenting how I made it in the new permissions thing. So I kicked out these settings, and I made permissions out of this, because then it's possible to make it more granular. Okay.
Yep.
So next thing that I did is I changed the survey type, I added the survey type setting, which said it's a survey or it's a quiz. And when I have a survey which has no correct answers at all, so I said it's a survey.
Yeah.
And in the quiz settings, in the quiz, it's this permission thing is quite the same. And when I have correct answers in the survey,
Mm-hmm.
then I say it's a quiz. That's just the upgrade procedure that I made. And when I have a question here with no correct answer, I call this a statistical question now. So it's possible to add to have a quiz, to have a question in a quiz with no correct answer, just for statistical reasons.
So basically, you can have a survey that is both a survey and a quiz in the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the reason comes on the next thing. When I export the whole thing to Excel to a CSV file, I have a GUID here that defines which submissions were made by the same user, but it doesn't give any information about the user. It's just a GUID that is created when clicking the submit button. And therefore you can say, okay, a user answered a quiz with that question and he's male, because the gender question is statistical. And when you import this file, say, to Access, you can make a report, for instance, in Access that says only male users and what's their incomes or whatever we have here. So even if the whole survey is anonymous, you can make such reports here.
Yeah.
Every question that is answered here gets the same GUID from one answer. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah. And so here I have to set up two modules. This is the one with the, say it's a survey. I made some changes as well. So these questions have been in the 4.60 survey already. And you see I changed a bit the how it looks for more DNN UI UX guide thing. But if I go to the settings, it says, well, this is a survey because there's no answer with a correct answer. There's no question with a correct answer in it. So it made it a survey in the upgrade procedure. In the permissions, it says, okay, there are editors who can edit the module, who can view the results. All users can participate. That was the other setting, and we have this test user who can do this as well. Okay, so For instance, what I changed here is I have the question, I have the type, I added the free answer text. That's new. So we don't see one now because we upgraded. Now I say we have two columns in the grid here, and for instance, I want to make USA the first answer, and then I update this, and we got this one. Same here. Here I also say what do I want to see for the chart for the results chart. So let's change this to a pie just to see it, and well, I can do whatever I want here. No, update it. So we have this 3. When I go to view results, I can here. This is the pie, and so on. So now I see the results of the.
Which looks a little better than the old one.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
Have you seen the old one?
yes.
Those who have seen it, it looks a little
Yes.
better. I don't know what you did, but
Yeah.
something.
Not too much, but I mean, the point is we still can add a lot of settings how the colors should be in the result and so on. But I just wanted to have a result in the module at the moment too. So there's a lot of ideas that can make it better. But so okay. The other type that I can do is a quiz. So for instance, here this is a quiz because there are correct answers defined also in the old module, in the 460, 470 module, and it upgrades it correctly to a quiz because there are correct answers in some questions. So also the permissions and so on. I don't want to stay too long with that. So
Yeah, it's the same.
It's the same thing, you know. Okay, we have say 4 in a row here. So what's the capital of Kentucky? Probably K, and 2 plus 2 makes 4, and a pine and the mug is not an animal is quite stupid. This one is a statistical question because there's no correct answer here. So I say I'm from Earth and submit the survey, and then I get immediately which answers were correct. So, oh wow.
You got it all right.
100%, and this is the statistical question. Okay. To view all the results, I go here, and in this quiz thing, the correct answer is without transparency. You see, you don't see the lines here. And also here it says correct answer. And if you hover over this, it says how many votes it has already. So and of course, so I had a little problem to to make something that can change the order of the questions here, because obviously there's some issue with the with the scripts that allow you to move the module from one pane to another. So it didn't work. So I made this here to organize this order or to delete questions here. And yeah, view the results. We did see that. And delete the results.
Resets the thing, right?
Resets the whole thing, and even if there is this setting that everybody could take part in the survey, it doesn't only reset the thing, but I just show you maybe here in the yeah. I just show you here because there's a setting that is not there is absolutely no UI for this, but if I reset the thing, sorry, I have this results version setting, and this counts up, so that number appears in the cookie, and when someone comes again and the whole thing is reset, he can vote again.
Yeah, awesome.
Which makes sense.
Michael, I personally love it. It's perfect. Did not have time to do a correct review, and most of us have another meeting in 3 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
And some of us have been in a couple meetings in a row, so
yeah.
biology is asking me to go do some stuff.
It's just I just wanted to show the.
Now, one question for you. We have this concept of maintainers, official maintainers.
Yeah.
Basically, you have the last word on the direction the module goes, and on pull requests that change that direction, you need to accept it basically to merge it in. Would you like to maintain that module?
Yeah, sure.
In the future? Cool. So in the agenda here, I'm gonna add here that this is all fine. So maintainer. Okay, the couple concerns I had was I wanted to test upgrading scenarios from the latest version that was released before we touched it, and fix some references and stuff.
It worked. Yeah.
It worked fine. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
And so in maybe this weekend or something, I'll get in touch with you again.
Yeah.
We can merge that. I'll set you as the maintainer, and we'll check if we have a couple things to fix before release, but it looks awesome to me.
Yeah. I mean,
Cool.
it's quite old style web forms stuff, but
yes, but it's a big step forward to bring it up that it works and that it's not as ugly as it was, and the features are kind of fine, and we can move forward to more modern stuff
Yeah.
in the future, but that's very cool.
Thanks.
Awesome. Anything else that we can
David
talk
has
about?
left us in the meantime.
Yes, he put in the chat he had to drop off a
Okay,
couple minutes
okay.
early.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll get in touch. I'll try this weekend to get in touch with you, and we'll work the last.
Yeah,
details out.
I'll be available on Saturday probably.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Are you on Slack?
No.
No. Okay, I'll get in touch. I'll get you in
Um,
the core modules.
Skype, no problem.
Okay, perfect.
Because my mobile is on, and when I'm away, I have the mobile with me. There's Skype on it, so no problem.
Perfect. So thanks everybody for attending, and next meeting will be in 2 weeks on the 25th.
Thank you.
Fine.
Have a good week. Bye bye.
I'm not there on the 25th.
Well, I'll add you on the recurring meetings, and well, there's no obligation, if you join, you join.
Yeah,
If
sure,
you can.
sure.
The people that show up, there's 3-4 of us that are kind of always there, but the others, it's when they can. So awesome.
Great.
See you.
See you. Bye.